So I haven't done this for a while, but the way in which I built this YouTube channel was that I would just try things on camera and see how they worked out. And I didn't script things, I didn't really do a lot of experimenting beforehand. I had a lot of experience with what I was using and I had a lot of theories, but I just tried things like, how's this gonna go? I have no idea, let's see. And that was really entertaining. And a lot of people really enjoyed it. I've done lots of different sorts of topics and concepts on this channel, but I think that's something that I really enjoyed doing. I think people really enjoyed seeing. And sometimes I can be kind of negative about things that I really dislike and talk about the negative things within the cookware industry. And that can get a little bit heavy and sad. So today I wanted to talk about something that I'm really excited about. Something that I've never used and is something that I'm really positive about. I really hope this is going to work well. So I want to introduce you to something that you've probably seen on the market. This is Xtreama Cookware. So this is a 100% ceramic pan. So these guys reached out to me, the people that own Xtrema, and they were like, hey, Jed, you promote using healthy-based, non-chemical based cookware. How'd you like to try our cookware and become an affiliate and, partner with us and promote our cookware? And I was like, hey, great, I do that. I promote other brands all the time. I love to tell people what I think is the right cookware, but hey, one step at a time here. So get me a pan, let's try this thing, see how it works. Like I said, I'm optimistic. I'm leaning towards, hey, let's see how we can make this thing work. But I've also read on Reddit and other places that people have really struggled using 100% ceramic cookware. So there's absolutely nothing non-stick about this pan. It's not meant to be a non-stick pan. It can create non-stick ability like using stainless steel, and that's something I'm gonna try to do today. But the purpose of a piece of cookware like this is that, as you can see the way I'm holding it, is that this is a nice big 11-inch pan. It's wonderfully light, right? You take a piece of cast iron like this, and that is going to be significantly heavy with a quality piece of cookware. So I have never used this. This was actually the first time I ever put Xtrema into my hand, and it's very nicely finished. It's a very nicely made pan. It's the quality of it is quite perfect. I'm excited about trying it. I'm very experienced with ceramic. I grew up the son of a potter, so when I was young, everything in our household was ceramic. A lot of our casseroles that we used were made by my mom. So I've cooked with ceramic a lot. I understand its purpose and the properties of it and how beneficial it can be. Holds heat wonderfully, but it doesn't react really that quickly. It doesn't pull heat overly quickly, and it will hold heat decently, not quite like iron, but it doesn't really slow down much. It's a bit of a lumbering sort of piece of cookware, if that makes any sense. From my experience with previous ceramic, I've never used this Xtrema. Maybe they have used a different sort of clay, maybe it's different, but they do promote that this is a health-based cookware. And as I've talked about on this channel often, is that it could be a little bit misleading. We do want to be really careful of being misled by, oh, it doesn't have this and doesn't have that. What else is in it? These guys do a lot of specific testing, specifically for cadmium and lead, which is really, really important when you're cooking with cookware that is made out of ceramic and made in China. So those are two things that you really need to make sure that are taken care of and that are tested by a third party and are not there. And they do that. They really go out of their way to make sure that they are perceived as the healthy version. Where cookware really isn't healthy, it can have chemicals in it that is unhealthy, but really it's what we're cooking and how we're cooking. So let's get right to it. I want to get this thing on the cooktop and get to work. I've read quite a bit about how this cookware can be problematic. People that have had a lot of sticking issues. I've read thousands of people that have said that about all types of stainless steel. So I take that with a pinch of salt. A lot of people will use something and just hope it's going to work the way that they know how to cook. I'm going to work this pan the way that I suspect that it's going to work and adjust things and see how we go. We're going to start right off the bat with the fried egg test. See if I can get the right temperature. It says that I don't need to season this cookware, so no seasoning needed, which that's fine, no problem. Seasoning kind of is logical to me, but I will go with what they say. Absolutely no seasoning. We're going to use some olive oil. They say to use high quality oils for whatever that is, but they're recommending butter and ghee, olive oil, avocado oil. I'm gonna use olive oil, just see how it goes. You know, using a combination of butter and avocado oil is probably the best bet for trying to get a non-stick result, but I'm just gonna use straight olive oil today, see how the pan stands up. It says to preheat for a 3 to 5 minute. I'm definitely gonna do that, 5 minutes. I'm a big fan of preheating all the time. Nice and low and slow. Get my cooktop, my burner, really the same sort of size as the pan so that we don't have inconsistencies throughout the pan, and see how we go. So let's try this piece of Xtrema and see if we can get a fried egg test. Just going over the information that was sent here from Xtrema. They say on their little piece of marketing material that they're a non-toxic, sustainable, worry-free, all-ceramic, family-owned, handcrafted, versatile cookware. That's great and fine. The non-toxic thing that just bring up, like non-toxic, I think on this channel, people that watch it, they understand what non-toxic is. Stainless steel, cast iron, carbon steel, enamel cast iron. You know, it's easy to get non-toxic cookware. So I get that they don't want to be confused with ceramic coated cookware, but what I want to find here is not just saying, hey viewer, this is a non-toxic cookware, you should buy it because of all the toxins and all the worry that you have. It's like, hey, is this a superior cookware? Does this cookware work incredibly well? Am I stoked that this is a cookware that I want to have in my collection? And hey, what a bonus that it is used with very natural materials and that it has, you know, a great warranty backing it up and all the different things. That's secondary in my mind. If it doesn't work that well, like who cares? We have great solutions. This, I think, is a nice lightweight solution if it works more like a piece of cast iron. So like some of the newer things on the market, like Strata, that's a cookware that I do promote and I am working in an affiliate partnership with because I think it is a superior cookware and it answers a problem directly. And will these guys do the same thing? You know, like, is this going to be a cookware that I want to be associated with? So that is my alarm for it being 5 minutes. And we are gonna get an egg on here with some olive oil and see if we get any sticking. Okay, so there we go. That guy's quite preheated. You know, it's a pretty small flame on there. That's the largest one that I've got there. I do have my center burner, but I can't regulate that very well. So it's pretty nicely warm, but it is just on a 2 out of 10. So it's about where I would fry an egg using a Strata 8-inch pan. So olive oil on, get a little bath of that in the middle. And it's, you know, it's got some moisture, or not moisture, but it's got some vapor coming off of it. So it's definitely warm, even on a 2. The oil's gone out to the side there. Get a little bit more on there. Okay. So let's see what happens there. Whoever's going to eat that's going to want a little bit of salt. Maybe a little bit of pepper. Yeah, so we got some movement going on right there, and that bubbling always means like it's not stuck to the pan, which is nice. So we'll see how that plays out when I go to flip it here. Okay, so let's get underneath that. So, you know, it's not perfect, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's stuck on there. It's not non-stick, but that's not really what I'm totally looking for here. I burst the yolk. Okay, so, okay. Well, from what I read online, people had some serious issues trying to get this to work for them. So, you know, I think like out of the box, first kind of go, fried egg so far, like you know, kind of what I would expect with a pan like this. Like, I'm not expecting, it's not a non-stick pan, so I'm not expecting a non-stick result. That seems to be working completely adequately. Like, if I was going to put that into an egg sandwich, that would be totally fine. You know, so far it looks like there's going to be really no issue within cleaning this up, and we'll try that out. So the next one we're going to go for is a scrambled egg. See what happens in that sort of scenario. Okay, so okay, so there we go. That is 100% fine. All right, so let's get that. Do we need to clean that up? No, I think we could just wipe that out. Just got some paper towel, and we'll wipe that out. Okay, so olive oil on. You've got a beaten egg here. So, very large pan for a 1 egg omelet, or 1 egg scrambled egg. Okay, so here beside my fried egg. Okay, so that's great. Okay, so just right off the bat, you know, there's, oh, dropping some olive oil. There's the pan. Yeah, that's great. That worked great. Like, you know, like I'd read some people really struggled with using it. Like the pan, the heat is really, really low. And I know, you know, through the thousands and thousands of people that I've talked to about cookware, heat is something that people struggle with all the time. I've made specific videos on this channel talking specifically about heat and how heat is a culprit on all types of cookware. And that worked out great. So, you know, like it's pretty, like it's not a non-stick pan, but like I just wiped it out with a paper towel, and that's great. So I think it's time to give it a little bit more of a test. Want to see if I'm going to caramelize something with some sugars. What's going to happen there? So I'm going to cook down some onions and then caramelize them with some maple syrup and see what happens. See what kind of a sticky mess I can try to make and what happens there. Because I also want to see, like I've just wiped this out, but I want to see when I have to like scour this thing or soak it. If I cook something onto it, how does it behave? You know, I am a big fan of using chainmail. There should be no reason that I can't use chainmail on this. This is as strong as glass. You know, it's going to get marked up over time using metal instruments anyways, so using chainmail shouldn't be that big of a deal. And I find that it works so well when I've got something cooked on. So let's try that out. Okay, so right now, this is a win. I'm stoked. I'm actually more surprised, more happy than I expected that I was going to be. That worked out really, really well. This pan, also nice and light, really happy with how it's working. You know, I had high expectations. As I said at the beginning, I was leaning towards like trying to accept this as best I could because I like what the pan has to offer, but I'm more surprised than I was going to be, I think. So I've got a nice big onion here. I'm gonna get this guy on, and we'll just cook this way. I turn the heat up by another notch. So we're now at a 3 over a 2. So it's going to be kind of a little bit of a low and slow. I think the idea with this cookware is low and slow. I think that's just kind of how it's going to be, what you need to accept. It's not going to be a fast, aggressive sort of cookware. You know, maybe searing a steak would be okay in it, but you know, I'm assuming that I think cast iron is still definitely going to have its place. And this, for a lot of the volume of your cooking, is going to be an excellent, you know, much lighter weight option. Like this is a nice big pan, and it's really easy to pick up. It's wonderfully light. So anyways, let's let that cook away and we'll cook that down. And then as it's getting finished, we'll add some maple syrup and some salt to sweeten that up and see what kind of a sticky mess we can make. Okay, we'll check in halfway through here. Things are coming quite nicely. I'm going to add a little bit of moisture, as I do with cast iron, to my onions, just to help soften them up a little bit. That is working perfectly. Yeah, no, things are coming along. It's cooking nice and evenly. Getting some nice browning. Things are softening. And yeah, good. Okay, we're starting to get there. Something I'm noticing with this pan, which is really interesting, is that it is super conductive. I've got this on a 3 from a 2 that I was cooking eggs on, and I could almost go to a 2 to do the same job. I'm like, now that it's starting to get a little jammy, you know, you want to cook this nice and slow. You don't want to burn anything, but you want to leave it on the heat. And like, I'm finding a little bit of back here, a little bit of stuff kind of cooked on. So it's just a little bit hot, and you know, it's very conductive, this pan. It loves to soak up the heat. If distributed quite well, it's doing quite a nice even job. So yeah, quite happy, but definitely it is a sensitive pan, there's no doubt about it. Okay, so we're running out of moisture, and we're getting some stickiness on the bottom of the pan, which is great. And I am going to bring this pan heat down to a 2. Because it is starting to get like ferny type sticky, and I want to, these onions are good, but they're not quite soft enough. So I want them to keep cooking without burning. So I'm going to get some more moisture back in there, turn the heat down, and let them just jam up nicely. Okay, so here we are. We got these guys nice and jammy. Got some nice sticky stuff on the pan. Not a ton, but enough. And let's get a little bit of maple syrup on there. Being that I'm Canadian, everything gets cooked with maple syrup. Like basically everything you make has maple syrup in it. That's what happens in Canada. We live in igloos and we cook everything with maple syrup. So we're gonna let that cook down and let that maple syrup get nice and sticky and continue to jam these guys up. But they're looking great. Get in nice and close on those. Yeah, nice and jammy onions. And we'll see how that surface goes. But we'll give it a few minutes just to kind of cook down and see if we can kind of cook that stickiness right onto the pan. Okay, so those guys are done. Oh, gonna make a egg bun sandwich. The bread is done. That is now gonna go over to the sink, nice and warm. Let's see what a hot pan in some water does. Okay, so we got some warmish water on that pan. Okay, no problem. Got chainmail. And we're gonna scour it up. So it's still warm off there. I didn't let it sit to harden because I never do that. I just don't do that with cookware. I don't let cooked on food sit and harden. That's just disaster for creating carbon buildup. So moving around with the chainmail, and I can feel with my fingers what's on there. So Xtrema does suggest to use baking soda with their cookware if you've got anything built on. So let me just clean that up and we'll take a solid look at it. Okay, so you can see there we've got a little bit of carbon buildup. And you grab a tool here, bench scraper. Yeah, that's not bad. So that'll work. I could have gone in with my chainmail a little bit more, but I'm just gonna get this little bit of carbon build out of there. So definitely does have some carbon buildup. You gotta be careful of that. So I'm just gonna work that out. Okay, so I've worked that carbon off of there. And I can definitely see that if you are not careful with this pan, it's gonna get some carbon buildup. There's no doubt about it. So caution to that. You know, the non-stickishness-ish, the non-stickability of it is good. So let's get this back on the heat and try this with another fried egg for this egg sandwich I'm gonna put together. Okay, so we've been 5 minutes letting this preheat. Get, like we did the first time, get some olive oil on there, in the middle of that pan, egg. We've got it on a 2, and we're gonna let that guy cook away. So this is our second egg, after we've just cooked those onions, jammy onions, and the movement in the egg, little bubbling in there, is even better than it was the first time. So they say not to season this cookware. However, as most cookware, I'm assuming that it's going to be better with use. I did scour it down pretty intensively to get the carbon off, but there will always be that kind of natural seasoning with use on all types of surfaces, stainless steel even. And that's probably what's gonna happen here, kind of what I'm seeing. So even though they don't say to season it, seasoning is part of the process of cooking. And that's what this kind of looks like. We'll see how easy this egg comes off when we give it another 30 seconds or so. Okay, so Mr. Egg, what do we got here? Yeah. Oh, hey. Can I flip this egg? What do you think? I don't know, it's kind of a big pan. Okay, so as I said, that's better than it was the first time, being that this pan will obviously just become a little bit more non-stick as you use it, even though they say not to season it. The natural seasoning is part of using the pan. So that egg is better than the first one. All right, so some jammy onions. Looking good. And there you go there. Coming off nicely. Onto there. Jammy onions on top. And a little focaccia pesto cheese sandwich with some roasted potatoes. Okay, so just off the hot heat here, giving it a wipe down. So there's a little bit of stuff cooked on, but not a ton, and easy to kind of come off. What I would do with this pan is that I would scour it lightly like I would with any cast iron pan, and kind of let it seemingly doing what it's doing. Like it wants to be naturally nonstick, it seems to me, and that's what I'm going to continue doing as I keep playing with this pan. So this is still early days. This is my first kind of reaction from this pan. I am probably a little bit more surprised than I thought I was going to be. I like as I said, I've cooked with ceramic before in the past. It's fine. Never really was amazing. So my expectation was kind of set from my previous experience of when I was a kid. This is a lot better than that. Maybe it's the smoothness, the real shine, like the type of ceramic that my mom would use when we were a kid wasn't as polished as this. And it was just kind of more granular, just gritty with the type of clay or the glazing that she would use. And it was fine, but like anytime that you would like cook a casserole, scoop out the casserole, there was always lots stuck inside, really adhered to the clay, to the glazing. This, I've had great success. That was a really great experiment. The second egg really surprised me. And yeah, I'm happy. I think this cookware is great. And you can see I'm holding this pan after now cooking with it for 45 minutes, and the handle is cool. That's a bonus. I wasn't expecting that. I thought the handle was going to be hot. So yeah, overall, I'm very surprised and very happy. The pan is as good as a quality as it's going to come from a stainless or a carbon or a cast, and we're looking for something that we want to cook with that doesn't have any of the added chemicals, even the stuff that people say that isn't in there. It is a very natural piece of cookware, in that same way that all natural glazed full ceramic pieces are. You can definitely find chemicals like cadmium and lead in ceramic, like it comes out of the ground. So when they take those ingredients out of the ground, lead is part of it. It does need to be tested from that. That's something that's hyper important, because that can be very common from a lot of Chinese made ceramics having lead in them, and with all different types of Chinese made goods. So it's really important to be assured that that is being tested for. They are doing that independent third-party testing, which is great. I wouldn't have even started this video if I was not confident that they were doing those things really well. So my big question in this video was, is this just good cookware? Outside of healthy based and not this chemical, not that chemical, is this cookware that you would just be able to compare it to a piece of cast iron or carbon steel? And my answer is absolutely. I really enjoy this. Even like if you're somebody who has an issue with weight and you want something that's like a piece of cast iron, this is a really nice alternative so far in the testing so far. For the tests that I've done, as you guys have seen, this is like early days. I still need to put it through a bunch more tests and do some more videos on trying it out and some different sizes of different things. But if you want something that is really nice and lightweight, it's great. Being ceramic, it can break. You could damage this thing and break it. They have a 100% replacement value on the first piece that you ever break. So for its lifetime. So if you break it, you get it absolutely replaced. You got to pay for postage and you get it replaced, which is great peace of mind. It's wonderful. Then after that, if you break it again, you get 40% off, which fair enough. You get one get out of jail free card. That's awesome. And like somebody like Vitamix does the same thing. If you damage their beakers, you should have to pay for it, but a lot of time they just send it to the customer because they're just like, here you go. Like, we won't be great to you. We want you to like us. We'll just give you a new beaker. And that's awesome. Customers are stoked. So you get that same sort of service with the Xtrema, which that's great. So, right now I can't think of anything that I really don't like about this cookware. I think that it is seemingly very durable. It's seemingly very well made. It's standing up to the testing that I'm doing from regular day-to-day sort of usage, and that's great. So I am going to go forward and be a partner with these guys, and I am going to be supplying in this video a like coupon code or whatever the sort of discount code links or codes or whatever that I have from them to offer you whatever sort of value that they're offering in that discount. That also goes to support the channel. So I appreciate that. If you want to get the Xtreama cookware, buying it through my link does make me money and it does save you money. So it's a win-win. And right now, if you're watching this like live when I've just posted this, their Black Friday sale is going to be happening, or it's happening now at some point in time. I'm sorry, I haven't really paid attention because I wanted to make sure that I liked the cookware first before I said anything. So I hadn't really memorized anything that they're up to, but I know that they are being really quite aggressive on Black Friday. So, go through my link, that'll add you whatever sort of discount, go to their website, check out their sales. I would suggest just grabbing one piece of cookware. I know they do sets and that sort of thing, and not to try to say don't buy stuff from them if I'm going to promote them, but buy one piece, try it out, see if you really like it, see if you can get the same sort of results that I get. Let me know if you're struggling with it, and if you even have Xtrema now and you're struggling with it, let me know. I'd love to know feedback from anybody that's using this cookware. This has been on my radar for a long time, and it's something that I have wanted to get involved in because I think what they're doing is the right thing, and they are really the top brand in this category. And this is another piece of cookware that we can promote to people, that this is phenomenal cookware to get away from coated cookware. And I know that like technically having the ceramic on it is coating, but this is the same as having enamel cast iron, right? It's on there, it's not going to come off, it's bonded to the cookware, it is extraordinarily hard, and having it chip or peel or flake is just not a thing with it. And that is something that they would actually even warranty. There is a 10-year warranty on the cookware for any of those sorts of manufacturer defects, and the lifetime replacement guarantee. So I hope that's been educational. Hope it's been fun for you to learn. Any questions, comments, please throw them below. Thanks.